Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to August 7th trading edition of the Money Flow Trading Room. I just want to make sure that the audio is coming through clearly. Good to see you, Ken, Terry. All right, let's dive in. Before we, just give me a second here before we dive in. Just gotta check something out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All right, let's quickly recap what we got going on, how we're going to close out this week. First of all, thank you for those that hopefully you watched the recording last week. If you didn't watch the recording last week, well, you missed out on some really, really good trades. So that's unfortunate. If you did, great job. Let's go over some of these trades here. Pound New Zealand. What I did is, if you remember, how many of you watched the recording and heard me say that if things change, I'll update the workspace over the weekend? Type it a yes. I need at least a couple of you to verify that you heard me say that. Okay, good, because what I did is I shared a workspace first before the market had closed. And I wasn't 100% sure that the market was obviously going to close that way. So I was like, well, things might change. We might be able to close out the dollar Swiss, the euro dollar, and the dollar CAD for like break even or maybe a slight profit. And if we can, we'll close those out and we'll add additional ones. And that's what we did. So that was good. So let's kind of dive in. Let's start with the ones that were rollover trades. Let's go to the New Zealand Swiss. New Zealand Swiss first. So tale of 2 weeks, right? Which is good. Tale of 2 weeks. We have 5 positions that we're in the New Zealand Swiss, and it was looking pretty good. It's actually a tale of 2 days. It was looking pretty good at earlier today. It's not looking the greatest right now. I'm not really that worried about it, but let's go over kind of what the average price is. We will technically account for this loss because it is the second week. So the average price is 61.46 was the first trade. 60.75 was the second trade. 60.51 is the third, fourth, and then the fifth. And obviously, we're getting a pretty large sell-off to finish off the week. On some of my other positions, it's actually helping some of my other positions, so I'm not all that mad about this sell-off. But let's account for this. We'll account for this loss because, again, this is the second week. So we're down about 116 on that trade. 48 there, about 23 there, 10, and about 5. So about 202 pips net, 202 pips net, closed out loss if you take the loss. Now, you don't have to take the loss on this. I don't necessarily think it's a horrible hold. I'm not a huge fan of I wasn't even a huge fan of the New Zealand Swiss when we first took the trade, to be honest with you, because it's more of a risk-on trade, but it is what it is. We're going to account for it because it is the second week. Let's go to the Euro CAD. The Euro CAD here. Euro CAD's right here. Euro CAD again. We'll close this one out also. We're in 5 positions. Yesterday it was looking better than it's looking today, but it is what it is. Again, we'll account for this. This is going to be a slight loss also, or a loss also. But let's account for it. We've got 110, 5. These were the entry points right here. And so this is down about a net 105 pips there. 105. Never fun to close these out, but again, we're following the rules. That's what we do. Which is actually going to be a big theme that we go over today. So that was the Euro CAD. Let's go Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand, this was another one that was looking much better yesterday. But we'll close it out because that's what we'll do. Because again, this is the second week. So we're in 5 positions here. Let me scroll back. Yeah, we're in 5 positions. These 5 positions, again, it wasn't looking all that bad at all yesterday. It was actually looking pretty decent yesterday. Gotten a big rally since then. So this trade here will account for about, this one isn't going to be fun. About 620 net pips. So that's not fun. Again, that's a tale of 2 different days. But again, it's the second week. We account for it. It is what it is. That's just, it's that we follow rules. And then Euro Aussie. Right here. Okay, so Euro Aussie. 5 positions. This one won't be all that bad. Again, it was much better yesterday than it is today, but it won't be all that bad as far as the close. But let's just get that one accounted for. And actually, this one could be closed out for a profit here. This one is up about 90 pips right now. So we can close that one out for about 90 pips. Okay, so those were the rollover trades. Those ones are flushed out. Now let's go over, and I'm going through these kind of quick because I want to get to this week, and I've got a couple things I want to talk about too. So pound yen. Let's go to the pound yen. Where's the pound yen at? There it is. Pound yen, we're in 1 position. I was hoping we would be able to get into more, but the 1 position is it was a pretty good entry. This trade is currently closing out for about 60 pips or so. So we're going to account for it now. I know there's still time in the market, but we're just going to account for it now. Again, just want to move on to next week. Pound New Zealand. Right here. Looks like we're going to hold this one. I don't mind holding this one into next week. All that much. We're in 3 positions right now. Again, yesterday it was looking great, but we're in 3 positions right now. It's down about 45 pips or so. So most likely we're going to roll that unless we get a sell-off, and we'll keep an eye on this one, but unless we get a sell-off in the next 15 minutes, which we could, we'll likely roll that one in to next week. So that one will most likely be a rollover. All right, and pound CAD. Pound CAD right here. We're in 2 positions. This one's not bad at all. Right now, it can be closed out for about 180 pips profit, so that one's good. Oops. About 180 pips profit in that one, so that one's good. We'll close that one out. Again, I know it could sell off between now and then, so maybe you could get a little bit more. That's fine. If you want to try to squeeze out more, you can. However, I'm not expecting, a lot of fireworks between now and the close, so. But and then let's go pound dollar. Pound dollar, this is a good one. This is our best trade for the week by far. 5 positions, which was really, really nice. Hopefully you had plenty of time. By the way, I don't feel bad for anybody who missed these trades because you had ample time and ample opportunity to get into all 5 of these positions. So, but anyway, so we've got, this trade is actually a pretty nice one, so it makes up for some of the other not so nice ones that we had for the week. But this one overall, about 250 net pips. So that one is closed out. All right, so net for the week, because of the rollover trades last week that ended up not being good at all, closing those out and accounting for those losses. Now, if you want to, you could hold those into next week. You might be able to close them out better for next week. I wouldn't doubt that that's maybe the case, but following the rules, we would be down a net. This would be a net 347 pip loss. This is only our 2, 3, 4, 5. It's only our 5th weekly loss in about a year. So it is what it is. If I take, how many of you would be okay with having 5 weekly losses within a year? If you were able to do that every year, would you be all right with that? Guys, I'll be all right with that. Like that's okay with me. And honestly, most of these trades, I'm actually pretty okay with taking these losses. I'm not a fan of holding the Euro New Zealand short. I'm not a fan of holding the Euro CAD short, the Euro Aussie short. I do not. And it doesn't really matter what I think. In fact, that's going to be one of the things we're going to talk about here in a minute. But I don't want to hold the CAD, the Aussie, and the New Zealand and expect anything major when I think we're going to start to see some risk off environments starting to show their end. And I think maybe we're starting to see that today. And that's something that we need to pay attention to. So I don't mind taking those losses. Again, taking losses is never fun, but it's always nice kind of going into a week kind of refreshed also. So we're kind of going into this week a little bit refreshed. Or at least not holding a bunch of positions, so that's good. And we just have the pound New Zealand. And so if you're wondering on the pound New Zealand, if you're wondering if you should get into that trade, or if I do like that trade, I don't mind this trade. If I have to hold something against the New Zealand, then the pound is pretty much the only thing that I would hold against the New Zealand. I wouldn't try to buy the New Zealand against the yen, against the dollar, against the euro, against the Swiss, but against the pound, I'm actually not. I don't think it's a horrible hold. So if I have to hold this one into next week, I don't think it's not horrible. But the average position in this, just so everybody's kind of if you're wondering if you want to get in, if you're not in, 97.83, 97.56, 97.26. Average position is 97.55 if you want to try to get into this trade. 97. 97.55. Okay? Cool. So we'll kind of clear out for last week. We'll clear everything out. And we're going to score together. All right, is everybody good? Everybody ready to move to next week? Everybody ready to move? Okay. All right. Okay, so I want to mention something quickly. So I have to. I hold myself, and this is a good thing, right? I put a lot of pressure on myself, which is just how I'm built. My wife always tells me, it's funny. She always says, like you need to take a break. You need to not put so much pressure on yourself. And she understands that it's either I don't do something or I do it, right? There's no in between. It's 100 miles an hour or it's 0. And I can go 0, but it just means I'm not doing it, right? Or I'm going 100. There's no in between. And it's just the way that I'm made up, right? So what I decided I need to do is I decided that because I go 100 miles an hour in the things that I do, I want to go 100 miles an hour in the money flow trading room, focused on the money flow process. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. So here's my thought process. And I think you guys will agree with this. Some of you might not like this, but I think most of you will agree with this. So let me kind of clear this off for a second. I want to draw something out for you. This is some of my thoughts that I've been having. Okay. So hang with me for a minute here. I'm going to draw something. I think this will make sense. Okay. So the goal is of my goal for any student, right? Let's just put a student here, right? There's the student. That's you. That's the trader. That's the trader. Excuse my third grade drawing. But the goal is to have this trader get to the finish line, right? And the finish line is consistently making money. It's not about, how good we think we are as traders, or how many different things we know, or how many different asset classes we know how to trade, and all this kind of stuff. It's simply about how well do I generate consistent, reliable income. That's the whole goal. That's it. There is no other goal beyond that, and there shouldn't be any other goal beyond that. And so I think about what is the path of least resistance to this point. And so it made me start thinking about the money flow trading room and me as a trader and what I bring to you. And so I started thinking about this, and so it starts with, and I'm going to just type all this stuff. It starts with money flow, right? That's the foundation, which is great. And I combine money flow. Oftentimes, I kind of talk about money flow and turning point, it's kind of encompassing, right? Would you guys agree with that? Oftentimes, when I talk about money flow, it's kind of money flow with turning point. It's kind of they're very close cousins, or maybe even brothers and sisters almost. They're different, right? You don't need to have turning point. I've said this many times. You don't need to be a turning point trader to trade money flow or to be in the room. It's just the reason why they're kind of really close cousins is because, their money flow pattern the money flow process is by far the best. So you guys understand the foundation. From my perspective, over 19 and a half years, I have never in my life found a better filtering directional bias formula than the money flow filter. I haven't. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist out there, but it's by far the best, most consistent currency strength formula that gives me a consistent direction, that gives me an edge. So that's big. And then turning point is one of the most consistent entry techniques and systematic ways to trade when we're in that pattern. So that's why they're kind of close cousins. So I always kind of talk about them in relation to each other. Now, what are the other things that we've talked about in the money flow trading room? We've talked about, we talk a lot about supply and demand, right? Supply and demand, which is great. I love supply and demand. Supply and demand, it plays a very key role in my trading. Very key role in my trading. Always has, always will. If I sat down with any of you individually, I would probably talk about, it's funny, I would actually probably talk about supply and demand even before I talk about the money flow process, money flow filter, or turning point, to be honest with you. Because it's very, very important. However, it's important for somebody who wants, so supply and demand is amazing for somebody who wants to be a really, really astute technician. Type it a yes if that makes sense. So if you want to be a really astute technician, understanding the supply and demand concepts within the chart is important. And it's great. It's awesome. But this room is not necessarily meant, and in fact, it's not meant to have traders be master technicians. Being a master technician is great. But I know master technicians that make a fraction of the money that some formula-driven traders make, right? Because they're really, really good at analyzing, and they're really good at technicals. Sometimes they get in their own way, or sometimes they're so cute on their being the master technician. And I've fell into this before too, that they leave money on the table and all that, and that's part of the issue. So there's a little bit of a balancing game there. But the other things we've talked about risk on, risk off, right? We've talked about other strategies such as, maybe global wealth, accelerator, right? Talked about the election. We talked about, what else have we talked about? We talked about some options, and I mentioned this too. I said, hey, we're going to talk about some options. We talked about options, kind of. Would you guys agree that these are all talking points that we've kind of mentioned? Am I missing anything? I don't know if I'm missing anything. I think this is about it, right? Other courses, but maybe, even today, I might, some of you might ask about, hey, what about the MT breakout strategy that you launched, Tyson? Just different strategies and stuff. Okay, so what's my point? My point is this. So if the journey of this guy, gal, is to get there in the most efficient, most simplistic, most duplicatable way, then I think I've done you a disservice. In fact, I know I've done you a disservice. Because what happens is this. We start here. And this right here gets you here. But what I've done, and I've done this out of, and I'll explain why, but I've done this out of a fallacy that I've created within my mind. Out of a lie that I've told myself, and I'm going to explain that lie in a second. But what I've done is this. I've done this. Whoops, give me a second here. I've had the traders go like this. Type in a yes if you see you're off target. You know a whole lot, but you're completely off target. You guys understanding my point? You getting it? This is all amazing stuff, guys. This is all really, really good stuff. But it's filler. It's all stuff that's filler. It doesn't necessarily at all times, and I know, I will say this, there's 1 out of 10 students that takes this, that is at a level to take all this information and make even more money with the money flow and the turning point and all that. And I know Michael, a couple other of you that have taken this information, like, wait a minute, Tyson, all of that other information that you've taught us, I've made even more money because of all that information. 1 out of 10 students, but the other 9 get distracted and get off target. True. What, you guys think that's a true statement? Yes or no? Guys, I think it's true. I think it's absolutely true. And so this is all good stuff, but what it's done is we're getting off target. And you walk away feeling good because you got a lot of good information, you got a lot of good commentary, but did you really get something that you're confident that you can duplicate for next week? And that's the biggest problem, guys. My biggest problem is I come into these webinars and I'm so freaking frustrated because I know there's only a handful of you actually participating in the profits that were generated on a weekly basis. And that's frustrating to me because I'm giving you the information, but it's not your guys' fault. It's because I give you this information and then I shotgun you guys with a million different other things. And now you leave excited, but you don't know. You're like, oh, wait a minute, which one do I focus on? Where do I go? What do I do? And it's kind of a scattered methodology, and that's not good. And so what we have to do is I have to go back and I have to say, well, the basics, the foundation is the money flow process, the money flow formula, the money flow filtering. We need to then spend time of detailing the top 1 or 2 trades and how those can be traded with whatever strategy you want to trade. My favorite strategy is turning point, but maybe we want to add some Fibonacci's or add whatever it might be to how do we trade that? And we need to stay on point, and that's it. And what that means is this, and I've been telling you guys, so here's the fallacy that I've bought into. And I actually had a conversation with a student that's in here, Jerry. Jerry reaches out to me often, and she's a great student, and I appreciate all her support and everything that she gives me. And so, but I told her a few weeks ago, I said, I feel as if there's a lot of students that aren't quite getting it. And part of the reason is because of this, we get so off track. And the main reason is because I feel like I need to fill time. I have bought the lie that the more time you spend with me, the more perceived value you have in the class. It's a lie, guys. It's not about, I want everybody in this room to understand it's not about, if it's about time, then I'm not going to be your guy because I don't want to spend more time. I want you guys to spend more time doing the stuff you want and making the money the easiest, fastest, most efficient way. And let's not spend more time together that we don't need to spend. Not to say I don't want to spend time with you guys, but so what I've done is I've said, okay, well, we can get done with the money flow and turning point filter process quickly. That might only take 45 minutes or a half an hour a week. But then, wait a minute, I'm supposed to go an hour and a half or 2 hours. What do I do? Oh, so I've got to throw all this other information out there, and I've got to give you all this other information, which is, again, good filler information, but it leaves people confused. So what I'm saying is this. This is going to be a no frills. I'm not going to be here for your entertainment. I'm not going to be here to fill time. I'm not going to be here to give election commentary. I'm not going to be here to give stock market commentary. I'm not going to do it anymore. Doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is, what is the money flow telling us? And how do I trade the current pairs that come up on the money flow, whether that's turning point or whatever strategy it has. And I know some of you are like, well, wait a minute, Tyson, I love the commentary and I like the ideas and I like your opinions and stuff like that. But you know what? None of that matters. Friend me on Facebook. We'll have a conversation there. Email me. We'll have a conversation there. But we're not going to do it in here. Is everybody okay with that? I don't know. I don't know if you're okay with that. I don't know if you're mad. I don't know. But I gotta stop trying to fill time, guys. I gotta stop because the reason I gotta get to this point where we just it's gotta be no frills, it's gotta be process and formula driven, and it's gotta be starting to prove, because I don't have enough proof that me doing what I do is worth it. I don't have enough proof for me to continue to spend my time to do this. And I want to prove either it's worth the time or not worth the time. And it's not about how much money I make, because I know what I do works. It's about, am I actually helping people? I don't know. Honestly, I walk away from these sessions and I say, I don't know. I don't know if I am or not. And I don't need anybody to stroke my ego and say, Tyson, you're really helping us. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I need. I think I'll be able to know whether I am or not. And I've been doing this for 3 years, guys. Tyson's Trading Room, the money flow. And I still can't answer the question. I don't know. That's not good. It's not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on money flow. You guys ready to focus on money flow? That's it. Nothing else. If that doesn't suit your needs, if that doesn't fit your entertainment, if you spent the money in the money flow trading room, half for the process and the money making opportunities and half for the entertainment value, then see if you can get your money back. Tell them Tyson kicked you out or something. I don't know. So with that being said, here's what we're going to do though. So every week, so to set the foundation from this point going forward, every week we're going to score together. It's going to be boring, right? It's going to be the same thing every week. We're going to score the markets together. We're going to come up with the best trades based on the money flow filter, money flow process. We're going to put them on. I'm going to type it all out as far as here's what I'm doing, turning point, and then I'll add some commentary about, hey, here's some other ways that you can trade it. And I might add a couple Fibonacci ideas, like as far as hey, if you don't have turning point, here's another idea of the way that you could trade this. In fact, I'll probably do that today. And then we're going to end the session. Cool? Everybody good with that? Type it a yes if you're, I got to do that at least for now. At least for now, I've got to do that. And I got to get more students not saying, man, that Tyson really knows what he does. So you have a conversation with your friend like, oh, dude, you got to check out this Tyson guy. He really knows the markets. And then your friend says, awesome. Have you made any money from him? Well, actually, not really. No, you're right. No. Geez, I thought he was good. Right? Okay, cool. All right. So let's Because I don't want you guys to spend any more money being in this trading room if we're not making money together. That's the honest to God truth. You've got other places, better places you can spend your hard-earned money than being with me if you're not making money with me. And I'm not, hopefully that's not coming off as a meme. That's coming off as truthful, guys. Okay, let's dive right in. So let me organize this, and we're going to do the scoring together. Okay, all right. And while I do the scoring, I'm gonna minimize my commentary. I'm gonna minimize my opinions, because really none of it matters unless there's something huge. Obviously, if there's something huge that's affecting me or that I think is going to affect everybody, I'll make sure I mention that also. I'm not going to be like a robot about it. I don't think if I even tried to be a robot, I don't think I could be. So there's still going to be, I'm still going to be Tyson. It's just going to be a more, hopefully more focused Tyson, a less opinion-driven Tyson. So as you can see, I'm flipping through kind of fast, but I'm gonna do this with you guys, but I'm not gonna sit here and do it slow though. Wow. Interesting. Oh, also, what we'll do too, and we're going to do this today, is the first Friday of every month, we're going to do the monthly also. Okay? So we'll do the monthly also today. All right, so let me flip through this. I know I'm going through this kind of quick, but there's really nothing to show you yet. Maybe somebody's already scored this, because could probably just we're going to get anything for today? Maybe not. Wow. Huh. Well, focusing on the monthly might be the best thing to do anyway. I don't think we're going to get anything for the week. We might get something in the New Zealand Swiss. We'll look at that one before we wrap for the day. We'll look at the New Zealand Swiss, because if it keeps falling, we break a low here, we'll have something in the New Zealand Swiss. But for now, whoop, there we go. Finally. Ooh. All right. Come on. Well, that's weird. Can you guys still hear me? Can you guys, how's the sound, guys? It's like I lost. One second here. All right, I want to do a quick sound check. How's everybody sound? Can you guys still hear me? For some reason, my computer froze, and I think the whole thing froze. And I'm not sure if I'm talking to myself or not. Oh, I love technology. Stand by, everybody. All right. Can you guys hear me now? I don't know what in the heck just happened, but wow. Gotta love technology. I'm going to blame it on my wife. Right when she started calling me, the internet went down. So I'm gonna blame it on her. Gotta always blame it on somebody, right? Okay. Yeah, Kyle says good strategy. All right, let's keep going. We got the New Zealand yen is an option. Looks like that might be the only option for the week, though, guys, which is kind of interesting. But the market doesn't care about what I think about that. And we also have the New Zealand Swiss potential. The reason it's a potential is because if in the next 15 minutes, I don't think we're going to. I don't think we're going to get a sell-off down here. But if we do in the next 15 minutes or so, that's a potential. New Zealand's yen is the only trade, though. And actually, it's kind of a good thing. New Zealand yen is the only trade. Why would that be a good thing? Because focus, right? It gives us the ability to focus. So I'm going to go over here, and we're going to go New Zealand yen. Buy. Now, not a huge fan of this trade. However, it doesn't really matter because we're going to trade it. That's actually the reason why I love using strategies, because it doesn't really matter whether I'm a fan of this trade or not. Now, if you think about what I mean is this. So if I'm trading the New Zealand yen and I'm not in a trade yet, and I'm like, okay, well, geez, the process says to buy next week. And do I really want to buy next week? Well, I mean, if it sells off to a certain point, if it continues to sell off, then there's going to be a point where I say, well, yeah, maybe the sell-off's gone a little too far, a little too fast. And yeah, maybe I do want to buy it for a quick move. And that could happen, especially with using a strategy like Turning Point, because Turning Point's not going to start taking buys until it is trading, obviously, at a level of extreme. We get demand levels and all of that good stuff. So the answer is yes. I think this is a high quality trade that could be taken. And historically, anytime I say, "Oh, I'm not a big fan of that trade," recently, most of the time I've said I'm not a big fan of that trade. Whoever decided to take the trade actually did better. So again, the process says to take the trade. Even though it's the only one for the week, it doesn't matter because it has the money flow pattern. Now, I'm gonna show you a way that you can trade this if you're not a turning point trader. And I'm gonna eliminate all of these for a second here and only have the only trades we'll have open for next week or open next week is the pound New Zealand, and then we'll have the New Zealand yen. That's going to be the new trade. Now for those that are not turning point traders, I'm going to show you what you can do, a process you can use. It's very, very simple. You don't have to be some master technician to do this. You don't even need any strategy, no strategy to trade the style that I'm going to show you, which is good. How about that? MTI we're going to show you something that doesn't require you spending more money. I need everybody to type in a yippee for that. How amazing is that? What? Have we lost our minds? Oh, now we'll charge you later, but for now, no, I'm joking, guys. Just joking. But I'm going to show you a style that is, you don't need a certain strategy. It's not, it's very easy, and actually ends up giving you even higher probability. The strategy I'm going to show you guys, though, you can miss out on opportunities. So you've got to be okay with potentially missing the trade. But it's a great way to trade, and here it is. Does anybody remember? Has anybody been with me? I know Michael, a couple of you, Jerry, a couple of you have been with me since the beginning of the original TTR. Type it a yes if you've been with me since the beginning of the original TTR. A lot of you have. Okay, awesome. All right, so the original TTR would oftentimes we used kind of the same money flow process, but we scored it in the opposite way. And as an example, here's the trade we would take. We would oftentimes, in fact, each week, this is the trade. We would look to sell, but we would wait for price to go up to a retracement level at like the 382 retracement or a supply area someplace in this zone in here. That's what we would wait for. And once we got into a supply zone or the 382 up in there, then we would look to sell, and we'd sell on the break below and at the 382, and we would target the 127. You guys remember that? And the reason why we target the 127 is because the 127 very often, just like in any Fibonacci extensions or any Fibonacci sequence, what would happen is the 127 places a natural area. In this case, it would be a natural area of support or resistance if we were looking to buy. And so we would target down there. So we would do a trade it was called a set and forget trade, where we'd sell at the 382, we'd sell at the break below, we target the 127, and it had a very, very high strike rate, which is great. The reason we changed things is because what we noticed was the market was putting in very deep retreats. It was having big moves down like this, and then instead of stopping at the 382, it would have very, very deep retracements and sometimes go up, tick above this high, and then fall. And it was chopping us up. And the market had kind of changed a little bit. The money flow was still powerful, but the markets had kind of changed in that it wasn't protecting these highs as well as it typically does. That was the main reasons why we kind of flipped the switch. Is we said, okay, what we do know. So if you think about this, if the idea was let's sell at this, supply level above the 382, what are we really saying is going to happen first? How many of you would agree what we're really saying is going to happen first is we're going to rally first, right? Type it a yes if you agree with that. So we said, hey, let's do it instead of looking for that sell-off when we get up here. Yeah, we could probably get a sell-off up there, but what we're really saying is we're going to get a rally up into that level, and then we'll look for the sell-off. So saying that, here's one of the ways that you guys could trade this. Once we get a currency with the money flow pattern that is in a continuation. So a money flow pattern in a continuation is this. So you remember a couple weeks ago where we said this would be week 1, and then the current week would be, we'll call it week 2. And I don't even know if that's the best way to label it, but we'll just call it week 1 in the process, week 2, because it's kind of a 2-week process. Week 1 opened here and it closed slightly lower. So we had a bearish open to close. And then this week we had a massive sell-off without a retracement. So that's a money flow pattern, a +1 money flow pattern. So that's the reason why this is on our trade list. That's the reason why we're saying, okay, this is a trade that we want to look to take. Awesome. So we know we want to buy because we're just getting oversold. But if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have accelerator, turning point, or any strategy, let's say, and you're like, man, well, Tyson, I really want to take this, but I don't have the money to invest in another strategy, but I shouldn't have to invest in another strategy to try to make money in your trading room. I agree. What can I do? Well, here's the deal. Remember what I said about the 127 being a natural level, especially in this pattern, a natural level of support? Well, then just do this, guys. Set up a target, or I'm sorry, set up a limit order to buy at 69.61. Set a limit order to buy at 69.61. And target either the 382 retracement of the pattern down or a level of supply within this between the high and the 382, target the supply someplace in there. So we have a supply level right there. So your target could be at 70.17 or 70.18. Type it a yes if that makes sense. So essentially you could put a limit order to buy at 69.61 and target 70.18. Now, what's the downside of that? The downside of that is you might miss the trade because we might get the retracement higher and we might not retrace, or we might not go down to the 127. If we don't go down to the 127, then you miss the trade. Yeah, you can also trade this with the matrix. Absolutely. In fact, trading this with the matrix is a phenomenal. The only problem with trading this with the matrix is where do you place your stop? That's the issue. And that's the issue with trading the money flow trades like this. It's using the turning point style. That's the reason why I don't trade with the stop a lot of times, because I trade with the time stop. We'll get out of the trades within 2 weeks. So with this, is like, well, where do I place my stop? And this would be an example of, well, Tyson, you'd place your stop down here. Okay, well, yeah, I could. But what I want to do is I want to give this enough room. Because what I don't want, if I go long, what I'm really confident in is I'm confident that we're going to get a bullish bounce next week, someplace. It might be right away, or it might be, price might go down first and then bounce. It might go, down even further and then bounce. I don't know, but I am confident we're going to get a bounce. So a conservative way to do this that will help you get into, a decent amount of trades without having to, invest in a strategy would be simply to look to buy at 69.61, target 70.18, and put your stop 1-to-1. And I don't believe your stop is ever really going to come into play. I don't think your stop is going to come into play and cause any issues. But if it does, you have a high if we get down here, it's a high probability bounce area, and you're trading with the market extremely oversold, and you should have a trade that gives you probably about a 65 to 70% probability of success. And if you can risk $1 to make $1 and you're right 65% of the time, over time, guys, you're making a lot of money. Does that make sense? So in this trade, what I could do is, how many pips am I risking here? So I'm risking 18 and 39. So I have a 57 pip risk. So my stop would be at 69.04. Why does it do that? 69.04. That's just 1-to-1. Again, if you're wondering what's the probability of a trade like this, Tyson, the probability of a trade like this, again, if I just set these type of trades up and did nothing else, and just each week on whatever currencies are on my money flow pattern or money flow filtering process, and I just set these up, you're going to have a win rate of anywhere from, I would say, minimum of 60, probably close to 65 or 70%. And again, if you can win 65, 70% of your trades, and you can average 4 or 5 trades a week, guys, think about that for a second. So let's say you're averaging, because we only got one this week, but we probably average 4 trades a week. So 4 trades over a 52-week period. You win, let's say 60% of those, 60 times. Say you win 125 trades. You risk $100 to make 100. So you make 12,500 on your wins. On your losses, you lose 83 times. You lose $8,300. So if you're risking 100 to make 100 on these trades, I think you got a process that should generate about $4,200, $4,000 to $5,000 a year in income for you guys. Type it a yes if that makes sense. Yeah. So again, this is not a holy grail trade, but when when we got the idea of, okay, it's a really nice looking trade because we're using the money flow pattern and the money flow filtering to choose these trades. There's reasons why we're buying because it's in a certain pattern. It's not like we're looking for this thing to rally up to the moon and we're doing a 1-to-1 trade with a market that's extremely oversold at key levels. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Perfect. I like this trade. So that's one of the ways for those that you don't have a strategy, you don't want to invest in a strategy, but you joined a trading room because you wanted to get mentored, from a real live full-time trader, then there it is. Okay, so I'll share this. You guys okay with me adding on the top trade or the top 3 trades each week? You guys okay with me adding these trades? Is that okay? That's not a distraction, right? Because the reason why I'm okay with that and it's not a distraction is because it's still applied back to money flow. And that's the thing we've got to do is we've got to apply this at all times, apply this back to money flow. Okay. So we'll just call this the set and forget. Set and forget. This is kind of like the new style of set and forget trading. So I'll make sure I'll share those also with everybody. Okay, and with that being said, let's add the normal matrix trade or the normal trade, which is this right here. So what I will do on the New Zealand yen for next week, personally, what I will do is this. I'm going to turn on Turning Point, low volume on a 5-minute time frame. I'm going to buy only. I'll enter up to 5 trades. Each trade needs to be at least 10 pips lower. Which again simply means if I bought right now, let's say I bought right now, the next trade, if the next signal comes in, right here, I wouldn't take it. It has to be at least 10 pips better. I have to get at least 10 pips of a better price. I'll hold the trade all week long until the extreme high is hit. And if the extreme high isn't hit, which oftentimes it's not, if I can close it at the end of the week with a profit, I'm done. I'll close it out. If I can't close it with a profit, I'll hold it into one additional week. Simple. Now, if you're not a Turning Point trader, tell me a strategy that you can use to trade the New Zealand yen and what direction you will be looking to trade it in next week. What strategy could you use to trade the New Zealand yen and in what direction? I want a couple of you just tell me. Kyle says 1, 2, 3. Yep, 100%. Absolutely. In what direction, Kyle? Up. How about momentum? Yep. How about power pivot? Yep. How about MT breakout? Yep. What about right trader? Yep. 6-figure max? Yep. Trendsetter? Yep. Anything. My point is this, guys. Accelerator, absolutely. Anything, whatever strategy you have, you now know, okay, I'm only buying all next week. I'm going to take the signals in my favorite strategy all next week. And if I can I'll just trade it all week. If it's an active trader or active style trading, maybe I'll get in and out, 4 or 5 times. But whatever trades I'm in at the end of the week, if I can close those with a profit, I'm done. Make sense? And if you can't close those trades with a profit by the end of the week, then be willing to hold them into the next week and do the same thing. Keep trading that strategy in the same direction. Hold it for one additional week. And if you can't close it at the second week with a profit, then you're done with that currency and you move on to the next. Is that fair? Make sense to everyone? Perfect. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so this is the weekly plan, guys. It's very simple. This is a very simple week. It's actually it's fitting for the message that I had for this week. Simplifying things, focusing things. So that's good. Before we move on, let's look at the New Zealand Swiss one more time, because remember the New Zealand Swiss was getting close. Hey, Denise. Oh, we have one additional opportunity, guys. Look at this. Nice. You guys see it? Perfect. So we got an additional opportunity in the New Zealand Swiss. That's good. And we're going to do the same thing. Yep, it's a continuation, so we'll look to trade it because it had a bearish open to close the week before. So let's do the same thing. In fact, we just closed. We basically closed on the lows, pretty much the lows anyway. So let's do the same thing with this. For the kind of customized set and forget, no strategy, Tyson, I don't have a strategy. I don't have any money that I want to spend on a strategy type of trader. Then, so what we'll do is you guys tell me where we want to buy it. What price do we want to buy at? Does it make sense? Yep, $59.93, exactly. Awesome, perfect. $59.93. Now, again, we might not get down there, so we might miss the trade. That's why this is more of one of those, it's more of a volume type of strategy because, we got to set up more trades than just one because we're going to miss some trades. So $59.90. So then our target can either be just the 382 retracement, and we could have a 1-to-1 risk versus reward, or we can say, well, geez, if we get up to the 382, then chances are we're going to continue to rally into the area, someplace in here, someplace in this area, in here, into a supply level, someplace in here. Not just to the 382, but someplace, a supply level someplace in there. And the supply level that I would want to target with this would be right there at 60.60. 60.60 would be my target. So I've got 67 pips worth of target, which means my risk will be 67 pips. So my stop is going to be at 59.26. Oops. $59.26. Which will provide me with a 1-to-1 reward versus risk trade. So here it is. I'll type this out. Look to buy at $59.93. Target 60.60. Stop 59.26. Everybody good? All right, perfect. That's for those that, again, if you came in a little late or you're wondering why would I set up, you haven't talked about these trades before, Tyson, why are you setting up trades like this? This is for the students that don't have turning point, don't have a strategy, don't want to invest in a strategy, don't have the money yet to invest in a strategy. This is the way that you can trade it without having to, this is a simple, regardless of time frame. Yep, the time frame doesn't really matter on this because we're basing it, the decision is based off of all that happened this week. So the time frame really doesn't matter. Now, if you choose to trade a strategy, like let's say you want to trade right trader or momentum, then whatever time frame that Chris or whoever the instructor is, recommends trading, I would trade off of that time frame with that strategy. Okay. So that's the New Zealand Swiss with kind of that customized set and forget style. The New Zealand Swiss with the turning point style, my core style, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do basically the same thing that we're doing in fact, not basically, we're going to do the exact same thing we're doing in the New Zealand yen. Which is right there. Okay, good question. Let me see. But Tyson, why are you using 4 hour this week at early? Yeah, good question. So, yep. So, and I understand where it would be a little confusing. So, there's a question on. So I do a lot of times. You guys, Jr. Yeah, perfect. So a lot of times you guys see me do the scoring on a 2 hour time frame. And you can do the scoring on whatever time frame, a 2 hour, a 1 hour, or whatever, because obviously the high and the lowers are the same. Now you might wonder, why did I switch from a 2 hour to a 4 hour just now? And the reason is, the only reason is, guys, whenever you see me do that in this type of strategy, is just because if I share this over with in a 2 hour time frame, you guys won't be able to see the stop. The stop will be hidden. So, but if I share this over with the 4 hour time frame, it pulls in enough data where you can see the stop. Does that make sense? So that's the only reason. But good question, great question. Okay, yeah. But I could see how that's confusing. Wait a minute, you switch times. Most of what we do in the money flow, it's very time frame agnostic, because again, it's all based on what happened the prior week or what happened the prior month. Okay, so that's the New Zealand yen and the New Zealand Swiss. So the New Zealand Swiss, we're doing the same thing. Here, we're just gonna use turning point. If you have turning point, great. On buy only, enter up to 5 trades, 10 pips lower. Each trade has to be 10 pips lower. Hold all week long. Whatever strategy you have, whatever strategy you like, whatever strategy you love, use that. Another really cheap, in fact, free style that you could trade is simply just use short-term trendline breaks. Use short-term Fibonacci's. Use short-term patterns. Just go to the chart. Just know all week long, I don't care if I had to trade naked charts, right? If I just traded with no indicator, if I knew all week long, I just need to buy trendline breaks and buy Fibonacci's and all that, I should be able to make money. Okay? Perfect. Thank you, JR. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I'm okay. Does this make sense for the weekly? And then we're going to transition quickly into the monthly. Does that make sense on the weekly? All right, let me share this workspace with everybody. So this is money flow, turning point for 8, 9, and I'm going to share this with money flow. I'm going to share this with everybody just because, again, I'm sick of gimmicks. I'm sick of asking people to spend money on things. I'm in giving mood right now, man. I'm in just like, it's time to make money mode. There we go. All right. Cool. Okay. So I've shared that. Here we go with the monthlies. I've already got the monthly set up. So here's August monthly. I did only share this with the money flow room, but I'll share this with everybody. Okay. These trades, some of these trades have already triggered. So you have to make a decision on what you want to do with them. But the monthly, let me know. Can you guys click on that? You guys have access to that? So I update the monthlies every single month. I've been doing this very religiously since November, since we started this same exact process in the weekly, since November of last year. The monthlies have just been doing phenomenal, guys. I took pretty much none of the July monthly trades. I was already in a position in the pound Aussie, so I guess I take that back. Technically, I did take some of the pound Aussie, but I was already in some of the pound Aussie, so it wasn't necessarily because of the monthly formula. But I've been updating this every single month, so the performance is all 100% to a T. I just haven't, and I'm kicking myself because this thing, I actually updated this on Monday, and I was expecting that July was going to be a bad month. I was thinking, man, you know what, July, because of the Aussie pairs, because we were in the Aussie short, New Zealand yen short, I was thinking, man, I'll bet you the Turning Point monthly drew down big. Guys, the thing made a ton of money, mainly because of the pound rally, pound New Zealand, pound Aussie, pound Swiss, but man, it just crushed it. It really did. And the thing about the monthly is you're using, instead of a 5-minute turning point time frame, we're using a 30-minute, which you might be like, well, that doesn't seem like a big difference. It actually does make quite a bit of difference because it takes a lot more time for 30-minute turning point trades to come through than it does 5-minute trades to come through. So you don't have to spend, you have to spend a fraction of the time in front of the charts, and you don't miss that many trades, because if we get a signal that comes in, oftentimes price will float around that level for a while and you'll have an opportunity to get in. So anyway, last month was awesome. This month, I've already scored this with, and so I'm going to have you guys have the link to this. We'll revisit this on a weekly basis. We'll just kind of update where we're at. What I'm going to start doing, guys, so you're going to want to save both of these, the weekly money flow and the monthly, is I'm going to start updating the number of trades right here and right here. I'm going to start updating that like on a daily basis, guys, because I want to make sure that you guys are able to kind of use this as a reference point to know, oh, wait a minute, Tyson's in 2 positions, I'm only in 1, and then you can go back to the charts and see, hey, what did you miss and can you get in? Okay. So I'm going to try to update that. I'm not going to say every day, but I'm going to look at it probably once a day or at least a couple times a week and update it. Okay. So you will just be able to use this as between Monday and Friday. You'll be able to use this gauge and this right here as your indication of how many positions should you be in. Okay. Okay. So here's the monthly trades, euro dollar. This is all based on, it's the same process, guys, but instead of using the weekly ranges, we use the monthly ranges. We go back a month. So if it's a bull, let's look at the euro dollar as an example real fast here. Why is the euro dollar on my list? I'll show you. So the euro dollar is on my list because this. So this was June. June, you see we got a rally. This was July. July rallied up, no retracement, no 382 retracement by the close. So therefore we got a rally followed by a money flow pattern up. We want to sell. And so it's the same thing that we do on the weeklies. It's just instead of doing a weekly, we do and then the other difference is we use, instead of using a 5-minute turning point, I use a 30-minute turning point, which again doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is quite a bit of a difference as far as the activity goes, which for some of you is good. Some of you are like, man, I'm missing a lot of trades, Tyson, because I'm not in front of my charts. And the monthly process might be the way to go for you then. It will require more patience. You won't get as many, it's not going to be as exciting, but we're going to be the anti-excitement room, right? Remember, there's no more excitement in this room. So this is not for entertainment. Okay. Other than me making fun of myself every once in a while. But so right now the euro dollar is in two positions. I want calm and boring. Exactly. Boring and profitable can sometimes be the most amazing. In fact, the older I get, the more I just love kind of being bored and having nothing to do. I got to be honest. It's kind of fun. But so this is in two positions already. So it's up to you guys. I don't necessarily think you have to get into this right now. So the trades that it's in right now this was the first trade you see, supply level above the band, and then it came up. You might wonder, why didn't it take a trade here, Tyson? Technically, that is a trade, but it has to be on the monthlies. Instead of being 10 pips better, the monthlies have to be 25 pips better. So actually, I missed a trade, didn't I? This is actually in 3 trades, I think. Not sure how I missed that. So we're in this trade right here. We're in this trade. You'd be in this trade right here. And then I believe this one is 25 pips better. Let me just make sure. Let me measure this out. Yep. Okay. So it would be in 3 trades. You guys see those? Supply level, supply level, supply level, those 3 trades. We'll do the same thing. So look to sell 5 positions all month long, 25 pips better, hold until the end of the month. At the end of the month, we'll close it out. If we can close it out with a profit, we're done. If we can't, we'll hold it into 1 additional month. But right now, this is in 3 trades. So if you're wondering, can you get in? The answer is yes, you can get in. However, this is not trading advice, but my recommendation would be this. The average position in these 3 trades is about 18.25. I'm very confident that price will get up to about 18.25 next week, so I would wait. And if you want to try to get into this trade, wait for it to get back up to about 18.25, and then you can get in for a monthly trade. And this is a really solid monthly trade, and we'll hold it all month long. Okay, type it a yes if that makes sense. So that's the euro dollar. So wait until about 18.25. I think we should be able to get that by next week. Okay, next, dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss is we're looking to buy the dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss, we had our first buy right here. Demand level. This was our second buy. It's up right now. The trade is up. If you're wondering, should you get into this? I would not jump into this right now. Same kind of thing with the euro dollar. I believe we'll see 91 next week. So buying, the average price is right around 91. Buying at 91 would be a good way to go. And I think you should be able to get into that trade and participate in this one for the month. So, but again, this is in 2 positions. And as you can see, I'm tracking the 2 positions there. All right, next, EuroCAD. EuroCAD is the first trade that we got into was right here. I think this was yesterday. Again, I don't think you need to panic into this one. I don't think you need to try to jump into this right now. I think you're going to get another opportunity. The trade fired at about 57.92. I think we're going to get up to, if you put a limit order to sell at 57.92 to participate in the trade, I think you'll get there. And then, so what you can do is if you're a turning point trader, like, well, wait a minute, how do I do this then? You could put a limit order to sell at 57.92, and then once you get into that trade, turn on turning point and change the number of entry points, change your number of entries to 5 to 4, right? So now you'll change it to 4 trades, or now you'll only be able to get into 4 additional trades. But we should be able to get this. But we'll update this next week also. I'll talk about this, and we'll see, hey, did we add any positions? What happened? And we'll kind of go through this on a week-by-week basis too, because it doesn't take that long for us to go through it. Euro-yen, same thing. We're in one trade so far. The trade was right here a couple days ago. This one, I'm not as confident in this one getting back up. I'm not as confident, guys, in this one going back up to that level. This one might be one of those that you miss. If you want to try to get into it a little bit, if you're like, well, I don't want to miss it, Tyson, I get it. And if you want to try to get into it, I don't necessarily think right now is a bad time, or not right now, obviously, because the market's closed. But I don't I think that, around the current price is maybe a good time to get in. And obviously, so if you did get in, let's say you got in at Monday's open or at the open next week, you can get in and then add to the position up here if you want. You can do that too. This is one that you might miss if you wait until we get up there though. So that's Euro Yen. Let's go CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss on the monthly is we're looking to buy. And so far we have had no trades. We almost got a trade right here. Almost got a trade there, but we didn't. We don't have any open trades yet. So no open trades. So this one's one that you can put on right now, and there is no active trades at this point. And then Swiss Yen. Swiss Yen, we're looking to sell. And we did, looks like I missed it. We did get one. No, I'm sorry. We got two trades, which is actually good. We got one right here. And we got another one right there, which is actually really, really good because our average position is right around this 1605 level. So Swiss Yen is one that you could actually get into right now, or at the open next week. Swiss Yen's ready to go. So this is in two trades, and it's currently basically at where those two trades would be entered at. Okay. All right, everybody good with that? Everybody kind of following along? Oh, does it? Whoops. You know what? Let me change that. Yeah, thank you. By the way, I do a lot of copy and pasting. So if you ever read, let me make sure this is right. If I type something incorrectly, which I do have a tendency to do sometimes, in fact, oftentimes, let me know, because the last thing I want to do, and that would be super frustrating, and I've had it happen, is people really follow along with what I type, and I type it wrong, or I paste the wrong thing, and then it costs people opportunity and money. That's not good. So look to sell. Each trade must be at least 25 pips higher. That makes me want to, you know what? I'm going to go back and look at the other ones also. So the extreme lowest hit. So I got that part right. I got this part right. Okay, so that one's good. All right, let me go back and make sure the other ones are typed right. Look to sell, 25 pips higher. Okay, so that one's right. Dollar Swiss, look to buy, 25 pips lower, extreme high. See? Come on now. All right, so that one's right. Look to sell. Is that a sell? EuroCAD? Yep. Look to sell. 25 pips higher. Extreme low. Okay, so that one's right. Look to sell. 25 pips higher. Extreme low. Okay, so that one's right. And then CAD Swiss. Look to buy. 25 pips lower, extreme high. That's it. Okay, so that one's now right. Also. And then, okay, and then for your viewing pleasure and for my gift to those that don't have a strategy, let's look at what is the top trade? Top trade, the euro dollar. So here it is. I'm going to add this to the workspace as my gift. Okay, so we would I'm going to sell at 29.30 or 20.94. This would be the set and forget style on a monthly basis, 20.94. Target. By target, could be the 382 or someplace, a demand level someplace in here. I could go to a 4-hour, I could look at a 4-hour demand, or I could just stick on a daily. I'm going to just stick on a daily for this one. I like a target of 14. I'm going to say 1470. I'm going to round that up just a little bit. It's basically right at about a demand level sitting right there. Plus, yeah, I like that area as a prior area of resistance, kind of a base area, breakout area. And so that means I have a target. Holy smokes, that's a huge target. Wow. I don't necessarily think we're going to, I think we can get down to that target, but I don't know if we won't. So if by the end of the month, let's say the price does this, and I don't think it's going to do this, but if it goes up like this and the end of the month closes here, you'd close the trade up. But just to set the trade up, you would set it up like this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to set this one up a little bit easier, because we do have a demand level sitting right at the 382 also. So I'm just going to target, I'm going to target the 382 because there's a demand level sitting right there too. So I'll say 1645 will be the target. And so that will make my, so 2094 minus 1645, 449 pips, 2094. My stop will be 25. And yep, it's going to be a wide stop, but it's 1-to-1. 25.43. My stop. By the way, it's above these extreme highs right here. So I'm going to actually bring this to a weekly so that comes in. All right. Does this trade make sense? So let me type it out. And we'll close it again. If you get short, if you trade it like this and you short it at 2094, if you're wondering, well, geez, would you hold it all the way to 1645 or the stop? No, if you can close it by the end of the month with a profit, then close it. And what's interesting, for those that are familiar with supply and demand, I know some of you might want to lower your entry point a little bit. But remember, I'm not, we're just going to stick to the 127. So look to sell at 120.94, target 116.45, stop 125.43. Perfect. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to share this with everybody. This is the updated August money flow turning point. Let me share that. Yeah, so Maria, good question. Maria says, will you be considering a daily money flow, same type of process? And the answer to that is yes. Fact, just a quick sneak peek. Now, let me preface this with something. I don't know how I'm going to handle this yet. I don't know how I'm going to handle, I talked about Turning Point Max a couple weeks ago. I got a great response from a lot of students. Thank you for that. I don't know how I'm going to handle releasing this, rolling this out, launching this, because I'm conflicted to a point where part of me wants to just give it to everybody. Like, a lot of time, energy, effort, a lot of resources have been put into it. It's just, I'm going through a little bit of an existential type of, I don't want to say crisis, but there's a frustration to me, and I just kind of want to just give more. And so, but I'll give you guys a sneak peek. Yes, there's going to be a daily money flow process, and it's going to be fully automated process in that everything will be done for you. And you'll be able to actually do this on anything from monthly all the way down to a 5-minute time frame if you want. And that'll be eventually released. And there's going to be a group of traders that maybe have a beta of this, and that's good. Again, I don't know when, I don't know how. I'm tired of launching products because I can only manage so many products. And you get to a point of launching so many products, you become a joke. And I'm not a joke, and I don't want to be a joke. And so we'll see how it all works out. But that's where we're at. So I'm hoping that so you guys will be the first people to know for sure when that's going to happen. That we'll talk about a daily process. We'll talk about a daily process when it all comes to that. We'll talk about how we can do that daily process and all that. It'll be similar to what we do in the weekly. So a lot of you guys, I don't want to discourage anybody. You guys could start your own daily process doing this. In fact, I know some students that have already done this. They've made a copy of the money flow. They do it. They do their own scoring on the daily process, and they do very well. And if you guys want to do that, you can. I don't have the time to do that right now. But I'm going to try to make the time. My goal, guys, would be to where I don't do anything but do a trading room. That's honestly what I want to do. And I'm getting closer and closer to the point where I just want to do a trading room with a bunch of traders that want to make money. That's like literally all I want to do. That's not where I'm at right now, because honestly, I wear other hats within the company. But that's ultimately where I want to go. But we'll you build into that. So. But I'm going to share this workspace with everybody, but great question. And I no matter what, guys, I appreciate the continued support. I really mean this when I say this, and I want you guys to take this to heart. I want you to spend as much money as you need to, be with me as often as you possibly can, as long as the return on your investment is justified. And if it's not, or when it's not, or whatever, then stop. Don't be with me anymore. And don't feel bad about being with me anymore. If it's not your style, and I mean that. I am at the point personally where I have to prove that what I put in my energy and efforts into are more than just me knowing it's worth it for me, because I already know I got to know that it's having a positive impact upon others, and if it's not, then I need to focus my attentions other places. And so that's kind of my goal. That's my goal from now through the end of the year is to prove my impact, not just in my own mind, not just be the man in my own mind, but be the person that what comes out my mouth and how I present myself is actually fact in other people's lives also, and hopefully have some of that rub off on you, so you guys can go out and impact others. Maybe sounds kind of pie in the sky, but that's where I'm at. So, and I appreciate your guys' continued support on that. So I'm gonna share this workspace with everybody. August money flow turning points workspace with everybody, and then we're gonna call it a day. I know I said that we're gonna talk options. And I would love to, guys. There's nothing more than I would love to talk about spread options and do all that. And I would absolutely love it. However, I'm going to put that on the back burner. Is that okay, guys? We'll get there someday, maybe, but maybe we don't have to. And maybe there's a group of you that don't have to or don't want to, and we'll maybe compartmentalize that eventually down the road. But let's focus on this first. Let's get every student in this room making money first, and then we'll build. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. Hey, listen. Have a great weekend. Again, I appreciate your guys' continued support. I from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for that. I appreciate you guys putting up with my ranting every once in a while. And yeah, let's have a great week next week, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Okay. Thanks, everyone.